want to hear the story. It's third day.
No, we're going live.
Streaming and recording.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Brookfield Board of Finance meeting for Wednesday, July 9th. It's a regularly scheduled meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Mary and Eileen are not in attendance, so there's 4 of us. Public comment, I'd see none. We'll go through. I'd like to approve, or we had 2 correspondents, Andy and Irene Correa, and June 11th, Irene Correa, July 1st. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting of June 11th. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. I would like to also now make a motion to add the police outside fund appropriation to the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, we'll go to the police outside fund. We've had 2 requests for outside funding. This was approved at the Board of Selectmen meeting last night. Chief of Police here. The first appropriation was $9,828 for the purchasing of ultimate training munition kits for the new pistols and rifles. Chief?
Thank you for amending your agenda to get this on there. The request for $98.28 from the Outside Services Fund is for the UTM kits for the new handguns and the rifles and some of the other parts that go with it. There's for I believe it's 7 handguns, 7 rifle kits, and the assorted stuff that goes with it. It's for the less lethal type training that we do. Ammunition, we do active shooter, and when we went with the new handguns, we kept a few of the old guns, but because they're not the same, you want to use your actual the actual equipment that you're going to be using if something bad happened for real. So we're asking for the funding to equip the training.
Any questions on this? Again, this was approved. I think we're okay. So then I'll make a motion to appropriate $9,828 for the purpose of purchasing ultimate training munition kits and for pistols and rifles, as also approved by the Board of Selectmen. Do I have a second?
May I make a suggestion? From the outside services fund.
From the Outside Services Fund. Glad that, yes, from the Outside Services Fund. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. So I can check this and sign it now?
Yeah.
Steve?
Yes, please.
Today's date, the 10th?
The 9th.
Okay, we have a second request. I'll make a motion then I'll make a motion for the appropriation of $3,638.42 from the Outside Police Services Fund for the purpose of purchasing an additional 40mm less lethal kinetic energy weapon that was approved by the Board of Selectmen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion now, Chief, you want to add it?
We're currently already using 2 of these. This is an addition to the 2 that we already have, so that we can add a third to the patrol, and with a plan to later equip the Detective Bureau or additional people as needed. So it's just for a third unit.
So they already have 2, they're looking for a third. This is one of the less lethal weapons. It's farther than their normal taser. It gives them a range to keep them safer distance, correct?
That's correct. It's on the less lethal scale. It shoots a projectile out, either beanbag, gas, whatever. But we're kind of limited with the taser to being up close and personal, and this is gives us some distance.
Any more questions, discussions on this? Take a vote then, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Chief, thank you.
Thank you.
There you go, Marcia.
You don't want to
Sign. Thank you.
have a good night.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. All right, on to the report of the first selectman.
Okay, I got a couple things that I wanted to bring up to you. Over the weekend, we've had trouble with our AC system at Town Hall. It's a, 40-year-old system. We had ordered some equipment to fix our water tower. We were jury rigging our water tower, and the way it works is the water tower, we fill the water tower, here comes the conditioners, take the water, they cool the pipes, and it comes into the thing. The floats that control the water broke, so we're starting to get a flood. Sheldon Kahn noticed it on Friday. He was here every few hours for over a day because he turned it off to fill the water tower. He really went over above and beyond. That equipment will come in the next month or so, but I just wanted to note, this is the kind of people we have that work here. He came here on his own, in the middle of the night, to make sure it was working. You don't get people like that, and I just wanted to tell you about that. The town clerk is starting a Citizens Academy that residents can come to learn more about how government works, how budgets are made, which departments do what. It's interesting, we often get people coming into the town clerk to complain about their tax bill. The town clerk doesn't collect the taxes or assess. So we're going to do that, and we hope to get a sign up. On August 5th, the police will be having their fun night here for the kids. So we invite everyone to come, that'll be fun. As you know, we decided to re-implement the citizen notification system. We're going to be putting that in place in the next month. Our goal is, for one, to have an emergency that you can sign up for, text, video, or phone call. And then for departments, like Parks and Rec, could have a update me only for concerts, only by text, right? So if a concert gets canceled, you'll get a text, concert is canceled. And we're gonna roll that out to the Public Works Department. And we anticipate they'll be using it for major road closures. And also, if a road is gonna be paved 2 weeks from now, you can actually go on the map, circle the area, and only send people in that area a notification that road's gonna be paved.
That's great.
It's gonna work well. We're gonna roll it out slowly because this is the sort of thing, if you get too many notifications,
You'll hit stop and.
people stop paying
Too
attention to
much,
them.
yeah.
So we're gonna work that, and that should be up and running in about a month. We're having our first meeting on that next week. Some of you may have heard that Homeland Tower has acquired an easement at 42A Hidden Brook Road to build the tower. Gentleman owns a piece of property there. The tower will go on a piece of property he owns behind his property. It's right next to Lake Leonona. The condos there down at the end of Merwin Brook.
Yes, yes.
So here's the school,
Yes, yes.
right, here's 1/3. It's down there. They have sent us formal notification that they're going to do that. They have to do that. That's the first thing they have to do, is send it to us and to Bridgewater, because Bridgewater is within 2,500 feet of the tower. I've talked to Curtis Reed, the first selectman in Bridgewater. We can both request a hearing and a public hearing and a conference with them. We're going to do all the things that we want. We want our people, residents, to know as much about it as possible. We hope to do that at Brookfield High School. I asked him, I said, do you want to just do this as a joint? And he said, yes, that's a good idea. So we'll probably get a few people from Bridgewater, because they'll be able to see this tower too. Along those lines, another tower company has come to us. It's early days, about 3 weeks ago, and said they would be willing to put a tower on 7 Long Meadow. The town will build it. We're having that conversation. This is really just difficult. The process for Homeland is a minimum of 18 months, because they have to go before the siting council, they have to get the approvals, all the things they have to do. 18 to 24 months. So we have some time here to look at this, and we will do that. We got a $98,000 grant.
I have a
Yes.
question about what you just said. If the other cell company was to work that out on 7 Long Meadow, would that make the one on Hidden Brook Drive less, like, desirable? Like, how does it, does
I
this,
think,
does the
again,
siting
early
ca-
days.
yeah, early talk, yeah.
They would come to us, they would want a carrier, Verizon or
Got it.
AT&T, to pay for the tower, right? They have said they will pay us some rent. Remember, Homeland said they won't pay
Right.
us rent for 12 and a half years. If they got a carrier, I don't think Homeland would be able to get a carrier. You don't need 2 carriers in the same, that's what
Right.
I'm guessing. I don't know the exact.
And I didn't know if, like, the siting council says, because it's on public property, it's more desirable than on private
Oh.
property. That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
ask.
think,
If there's a,
here's what I think. I think if the town, let's say we decided to, we had a town meeting, and we said we wanted to have it on 7 Long Meadow rather than Hidden Brook.
Mhm.
There's no doubt in my mind, one siting council would say, go to 7 Long Meadow, because it's further away from any property.
Mhm.
The Homeland one on 42, Hidden Brook, is within 500 feet of a couple hundred residences, if you count the condos.
Mhm.
Ours is the one on 7 Long Meadow is no closer than 800 feet from any one residence, and 1,500 feet from the high school. Hidden Brook is about 600 feet from the high school, where they want to put it. It's closer, I'm not sure the exact, I don't want to be held to that.
Mm.
So I think the siting council would say, that's a better location. But it's real early days, we're just talking
Understood.
about it.
So financially, how do we manage this? Because if you look at the timeline of these towers,
Yeah.
the first proposal was golden.
Yeah.
They're gonna give us $3,500 free services, we're gonna gain $100,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
We sort of botched that around.
They kept lowering their offer.
Well, no, the offer kept getting worse because we kept putting things in their way, hurdles in their
Yep.
way. We kept putting hurdles as Board of Selectmen, putting hurdles in their way, so they moved down, and basically each time the offer got less.
Yeah.
Each time we probably got 4 offers, from the best offer to the last offer. The
Right.
last offer was terrible.
Yeah.
Now, I'll agree with you, but we went from a great offer to a poor offer. Now, what do you tell the 200 residents that are gonna get this cell phone tower in their neighborhood because we didn't negotiate on the front side of this?
We did negotiate.
Well, we let 20 people come to a town meeting.
Okay, no. There
How
were
many people came?
150 people at that
Okay,
town meeting.
so there's 200 residents that we're gonna now put it in their yard.
So the new tower company will pay us rent immediately. They will put the entire tower in, they will pay for the road. They have offered to pay us $1,800 a month. Homeland's original offer was $2,000 a month.
Right, so this is my,
Original offer.
you've
And they
answered.
will give us the top of the tower for free.
So what I'm saying
It's
is, how do
$200
we
less a
contain
month
this?
than what Homeland originally offered.
How do we contain this to the point where it's a positive instead of a negative?
We would have to get the town to agree to put it on 7 Long Meadow. And I think there's gonna be a lot of people against that. The swing between us putting our equipment on the Homeland Tower, on Long Meadow, on Hidden Brook, and difference in rent is about $61,000 a year. Because they're charging us $3,300 a month to use Vale Road. Plus the
Correct.
rent at $1,800, that's $21,600. So it's a significant, it's $61,000 a year. So we're not gonna
The one
say.
on 7 Long Meadow is farther away from residents than the other.
Yes, oh God, yes. It is literally, the one on Hidden Brook is within 100 feet of 3 or 4 residences.
So then, so I understand, even because of financial impact, so I understand
It
this.
has a
Why
financial
didn't we put it at the high school when that was like 19,000 feet, or 1,900 feet away?
Because Homeland wanted to pay us no rent for 12 and a half years. Remember, they said they wanted $300,000 to put the road in, right? I talked to Ralph Tedesco, our public works director, he says, no, it's nowhere near that cost. This new tower company has said, we'll put the road in, and we will pay you $1,800 a month. So that tells me Homeland was not making an offer, and we made the right decision not to go with that, because it was absurd. So, we're gonna start the conversations with this company. If we do that, we would have to go to a town meeting. We wanna get it out, we want residents to now, we have to step back and remember that we said, if they can prove the need, doesn't matter who it is, they will be allowed to build the tower.
You gave a figure at your Board of Selectmen meeting, right? Like 600 times they went, 590, the tower was approved.
To the
I'm
site
sorry,
council.
say again?
You gave the sitting council, 600 applications went before them, 590 got approved.
Yeah, 590 something, and the few that didn't just got resubmitted with changes and then got approved.
So they have pretty much 100% hit rate.
It's
Right.
virtually 100% the siting council approves. Those ones, a few of them were, the tower was gonna go into a historic district, so they made them make changes, move the tower to this side, move the tower here, and then come back to us.
So
But
you're-
yes, they virtually approve.
So a tower's
every-
pretty much inevitable.
It's, I have
I
not
think
heard
the
that they
choice
have
is,
ever.
do we want to build it here or build it here? And that's probably the
Right.
question that needs to be asked,
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
Right.
choice
for-
of the two locations. Would you rather the town builds it here or builds it here?
But from our point of view, it's $60,000 expense versus a $60,000 revenue.
Yes.
The
that's
total
100%.
swing is 6.
So,
That's,
so
the
that's,
revenue
it's a
would be better,
difference.
obviously, than.
which should be highlighted would be,
So if it went on Hidden Brook, we would be paying $39,000 a year for use of the tower.
Correct.
If it goes on 7 Long Meadow, we get the tower for free, plus they will pay us $21,000 a year on top of that. So it comes to $61,000 a year. That's why I call it swing, because
Yes.
it's not
Right.
true revenue. It's avoiding an expense.
And you
we
would,
just need everybody to get the message.
So our
Yeah.
expense would be for 39,000.
Yeah.
yeah.
And instead, we would get 60, or we would get a $21,000
To the
kick.
plus.
Yeah.
Right. 21,000 to the plus.
And you're gonna you're going to hold, in a sense, one public hearing with potentially the first selectman of Bridgewater regarding.
For the Homeland Tower.
For the Homeland Tower,
Yeah,
no
we're,
matter what.
we're gonna go through that process to
Got
get
it.
as much resident input. We're gonna ask them to do everything that they're required to do. Have a hearing, we want that hearing to be here in Brookfield. We prefer not to have, they have Zoom hearings.
Yeah.
Right, no.
No, we would prefer
Okay.
to have the Brookfield High School auditorium, let our residents come, let Homeland come, and let the residents speak to them, right?
Got it.
It comes down to really, if they can prove the need, which they absolutely can if you look at the maps, where people don't have coverage.
Right.
The siting council will say it's a safety issue. You've heard our police, fire, and EMS say, we don't have the coverage down there either. Siting council will approve it.
Well, and I think to Naheed's point, which is good, is it can go at one place and cost us money, or it can go at another place and give us money.
Right.
Which, giving us revenue is more helpful, so maybe we
Yeah.
just need to make sure that everybody understands the ins
Yeah.
and the outs of it. It's gonna go somewhere.
Yes.
We're
it
not
is.
gonna be able, so let's
But
try
there
to
are,
figure out the best.
there are a lot of
place for it.
people. I would put two groups of two. There are people who say it is dangerous and it causes cancer and things.
Mhm.
Okay, you can believe that. I personally don't. And the second group, and it's a very valid concern. The place we're proposing to put this tower is on 7 Long Meadow Hill. Everybody has always considered that open space.
Mhm.
So we would be putting a 12-foot wide road and a 40 by 60 with the tower in it.
Mm.
What I say to people is, understand, okay, that is open space, but it was never intended to be open space. The town bought that property in 1969 for the specific purpose of building a school. Right? So you have to weigh these things, and we're gonna get, people are gonna go, but we have time. It's a minimum of 18 months before Homeland can get approval to put the tower in. So we'll have that conversation, we'll go
Got it.
out and we'll talk to people.
Thank you.
More information you get. We hired a company, not hired, but we contracted with the company Titan to look at all our buildings for solar. They have done that. Right now, they're the best use right now is Wisconsin and the high school, where to put solar. They have put together a request for proposal, and those bids will be coming in next week. There are permutations to it. There's two ways you can do it. You can buy the solar equipment yourself as a town, have somebody install it. You get 100% of the benefit. You can hire a company to come in and basically lease your roof right? They put the equipment in, they maintain the equipment, if there's a problem, they take care of it, and they give you set costs for electric. We'll have to see how those come in, and then we make a determination. I'll be talking to you guys about that, probably. What's the best way to go, right? Installing solar arrays on schools is not cheap, right? Because it'd probably be pretty significant size. But we'll wait and see. So we'll get that to you and we'll discuss that. You may have noticed in the downtown that in front of where the food emporium is going and across the street, it's all cordoned off now. Mistakes, warning signs, do not walk. That's where phase 5 and 7 of our streetscape were going. We hope to build them this year. The state's DEP decided that they believe that there might be an endangered sawgrass there. And so we have to let that area grow for at least 3 months. Hire a botanist to come in and see if there's sawgrass there. And so that will put the project off for at least a year because we can't pour concrete, just,
On endangered sawgrass.
yeah. I don't know what the answer is. If they find the sawgrass, will it actually stop the project? Or can we put sawgrass somewhere else? These properties on either side of the road have been mowed for 50, 60 years. But it is a grant, we have to follow the rules. Different people have different opinions about that. I did sign the paperwork. We got a $5,000 grant for the town clerk to digitize records. She's going to continue to do that. She gets it every year. The Community Center Ad Hoc Committee is moving forward. I've spoken to the chairman. They're at a little bit of a loss. Are we going to use Center School? Are we not going to use Center School? I said, go ahead, keep considering Center School. The Police Ad Hoc Committee met with the Board of Selectmen. Jay Purcell gave us a presentation on Monday on where they are. They plan to be back to us with their recommendations by next June or so. That works with our timing and our planning. As part of that, Glenn had mentioned at our last Board of Finance meeting, and he made a really good point. You know, Steve, if we put a new police station, build a new one here, wherever, I want to know what we're doing with the old police station. If we put a new library in a community center, I want to know what's going on with the library. So here we have the police station, Center School, and the library building. 3 buildings which could be affected by these 2 plans. There is a lot of angst and shifting, moving all over the place, and I think, and we're talking to people, that we should hire a planner, a planning company to come in and help us. Now, my thinking is we would use the planning company who did our POCD, because they already know the town, they've been here for a year, they know our residents, they know our needs, they know our facilities, they know what our plan of conservation and development is, so they would be able to hit the ground running. And I would think what we want to get out of them is a 4 to 7 year, here's all your buildings, here's the needs of the town as you would express them, this is what we think you should do. If you put a police station here, this is what we think you should do with the police station. If we put the library, this is what the best use of a new library would be. Do we put Parks and Rec there? Do we put Board of Ed there? Do we put town offices there? Or at the police station? There's so many moving parts here, I think Glenn made a really good point.
But I think we're losing some sight of this too, because we don't want to make another cost center based on what we already have contained in cost centers. The Board of Ed TSO is within this building cost center. Park and Rec is
Yeah, I
within
see
this
your point.
building cost center. We don't want to move a department into an existing building and develop a whole other cost center of maintenance, of IT and everything else. It has to be a need outside of the current needs that we're dealing with.
Yeah, well, already.
To move your office to the police station to make it, and I'm not saying you would, but to say we're gonna move the first selectman to the police station because he wants a bigger office, he wants TVs up
The office is-
that, you're just making a cost center. You're not utilizing a building. So the best thing is, and I think New Canaan was looking at it, their Board of Finance has said, you know what, guys, all these committees, you get $10 million, you get $5 million, come back to us with a solution.
Yeah.
Not a Taj Mahal
No, no,
type
no.
of thing, not a new buying commercial property, and building a $40 million building,
Yeah.
not doing that. And,
Well, this
When
is
we
where the
first
capital
came
committee
on-
will come in, to be very critical.
right, but when I first came on to the Board of Finance 10 years ago, there was a saying that we were planning growth for sustainability. And that and to deal with emergencies. We got through the debt bubble, we finally got to be proactive, but we don't want to put ourselves back in a spot where we're handcuffed by a new police station.
No.
Instead of saying, hey, what can you do with 20 million? Because we can swallow 20 million.
Yeah.
We can swallow
agree with
maybe
you.
10 million or 15 million for the library. We could, I don't know, Brian, I'm throwing out numbers, I'm just saying what we could maybe swallow.
Yeah.
But we got these committees out, and like I say, they're looking, I listened to the Board of Selectmen meeting, we're looking at commercial land. So
They are considering it,
if
yes.
we're gonna break ground on commercial land, that's cost. That's not a deal, that's not a bargain.
It might be, I think we should let them finish, because it might be the most cost-effective way to move. Newtown actually bought a building.
Yeah. and
They
they're-
bought additional property, and they did a really good job,
And
and
what
they
was
did
their
it at a
cost?
reasonable cost. There's about 18 million, I think.
And their police building is still sitting there with the for sale sign saying, please call
Yeah.
for select.
How far away is it?
Hmm?
It's by then.
Yeah, right?
Well, they can also print books there.
Sure.
Okay.
That was a joke.
Yeah,
It was owned by Taunton.
It was Taunton Press down by the high school. Yes.
Wilton just built a new police station. It's built for 60 people, including 45 police officers. So they're building for the future. They don't have 45 police officers. The entire bill, they went to referendum year before last, about 18 months ago. $18 million, all in. So I think between Newtown was, Glenn, what, 20?
I
18,
don't know.
20?
You're
I'll
telling
find
me,
out.
I gotta look. So then I'm gonna ask another dumb question then, because why were we floating around the $38 million number
Yeah.
last year? If I'm building new for 20 and 18,
I would
how
tell
did we
you-
even get to a
I can
$38
tell you
million
exactly
number?
where that number came. We had, 5 or 6 years ago, the police department, even before I took office previously, had started to look at designs and hired an
Mhm.
architect. 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, they had said, the building that you want to build, the one that would be at the farmer's market,
Mhm.
is about $18 million. When they went back to them last year, 35 million. That was their guess. I think we can do it for much less than that. That's exactly where that came from. It was a guess by the former architect. It was not a guess where they said, ooh, we've got this materials and this material,
Yeah.
and run it against our new cost for steel and new cost for glass and electric and contractors. It was a guess, and that's where that number came from. I think a new police station will be significantly less than that. If Wilton just built one to house 45 officers and 60 people for $18 million, all in, I think we can be right in the same ballpark, right? I think, right?
And that wasn't renovating, that
But
was.
to Glenn's
ground up.
point, I think we should, and this is a good reason, another reason to get a planner, is talk to the capital committee. We have limited resources here. If we say we're gonna build a $35 million police station, I don't think we're gonna build a community center for a long time. But I don't think we need to. I think we can do both, but we have to start to put, to Glenn's point, put some numbers around this. The library here on the soccer field, 29,000 square feet. That was 17 million, I think, was what the referendum was for. Is that right, John? A little less than 17 million? A little
I
bit
feel
less?
like 15 million stays in my head because we always said that and we said, why would we build a $15 million library? I think that's what everybody, I feel like
Yeah.
15 just kept jumping out at me because
Yeah.
I remember all my friends going, that was just.
Yeah, so it's, we're not
Right.
there yet, but we need to get there, but we need to start to dimension this. And hiring a planner would help do that.
You said that
And
this was
also,
the-
I don't want to see a library sit empty.
No. You said this was the same person that did the POCD, the same people?
I'm talking to them next week, I'm having a meeting with them next week.
How much did they charge for that?
The POCD was about 90 some odd thousand, and we had budgeted 120, is that correct?
Something like that.
There is money left in that budget. I don't think it would be quite enough to hire him to do the full planning,
That's a lot of money though.
but they would give us an estimate. If it's crazy, we'll go out to bid.
Look, I'm not exactly sure what they'd be doing. I mean, I'd be really
Yeah.
interested to see a statement of work of what you think this
Um,
planner's doing, because.
We have a lot of competing
If you asked
competing
me to do
needs
it, I
in
wouldn't
this
even
town.
know what the questions are that I'm being asked to answer, so, you know, I
The
mean.
questions are, we have 3 buildings, right? 3
We don't need
police,
a plan, I don't think.
we have library, police station, center school.
Yeah.
We have 2 competing projects that may want to go to the same space. Bring some structure around it. What do you really need? What does the town want, right? What would we do with these buildings? What does the town do with the library? If we move the library into a community center, does anybody know what we would do with the library? They can then go out to our residents, talk to everyone internally, talk to the boards and say, hey, we think your best use for the old library is XYZ. It might be sell the building. It might be sell the police station. Police station would be a little tougher. It's all concrete inside. The way they construct police
It's on
stations
campus.
is not
You
real
go
popular
against
for
our-
commercial.
We go against our logic of keeping it a campus.
I agree with you.
That's why we bought the other property.
I agree with you
I don't
100%.
know if what you're saying
I
represents.
agree with you 100%. But there has been a lot of clamor in town. Why is this
The 90
building
was
sitting here
the
empty?
16, so it was
Center
like
school.
20 or 30, I think.
That's what I want to avoid
Just
personally,
20.
because we have a cost there that, well,
Yeah.
it was a cost, it's minimal now, but it's still sitting there. It's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
become,
deteriorating now.
it's gonna become a cost at some point, either to take it down or to
Yep.
do something with
It
it.
absolutely is.
And it's not happening. And if we vacate 2 more buildings and we have 3 dinosaurs on our hand, that makes no sense.
Yeah. The library's in pretty good shape. The police station is in reasonable shape. Center school is not. And since we took the heat out, it's deteriorating at a much faster rate than it would have if we had heat in there. And we lost the electric. That's a $500,000 electrical system. So there's a lot of things we need to look at. And I don't want to end up with building a police station, building a community center, and then having empty buildings we have no idea what we want to use for. And I think a planner would help us,
What is your estimate of cost?
20 to 30,000. That's,
Each
now
No, I know,
project?
I know that's a
Right,
a
no,
shoot.
I
I know that's a shoot.
Wild.
I know.
you know what? Guess.
Each project or just the whole thing?
No, for the whole thing. Planning for the town.
Now, just to throw it out there for cost savings, I had someone recently ask me that's graduating as a planner from college that's looking for an internship, free, to get her degree. Brookfield resident, long time.
Tell her we'll bring her in.
And she would be doing maybe, look at this and give a,
Does she want to come in? Have her come talk to me. I absolutely,
all right.
absolutely.
All right, I did verify, your numbers are correct. Newtown was 15 million and Wilton was 19 million.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
now Newtown was about
Well,
5
it was
years
like-
ago, 6 years ago?
It was in 2020, but Wilton's was recent at 19.
Wilton's, they haven't even moved in it yet.
Right. So Wilton's was,
And they're both new, brand new.
they voted in 2022 bonding,
Yep.
but they had delays, communication, so it's a $19 million. It was $19 million.
Yep.
It says it will be finished this fall.
Yep.
Is that
So
4
that's
days
really-
ago it was
really
updated.
accurate.
So this is a good work on the $19 million on an 11.17 acre site on Danbury Road's been ongoing. And that was which hosts 41 officers, which is about the size of us.
Yeah, the town administrator told me 45, Matt Knickerbocker. And he's more than willing to have our guys go down and look at it. I talked to Jay Purcell. They're going to try to arrange that. But now we have a building that's 90% complete. It's new. It meets the police accountability standards. You can always get good ideas. You look at
Yeah,
somebody else's.
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's more than willing to have
I'm
it.
more comfortable with that number.
So I think we're getting a much better idea where that number should be.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. We say, okay, the number's 20 million. What can you do for 20 million? Right? 18 million.
Yeah.
Right?
Which wouldn't be a hard number, but it'd be a guideline number. 22 is no different than 20.
What can you
I
do for
mean-
18, and is there, something comes up that's critical, come back to us, that you can't fit in, right? I don't wanna have open-ended budgets here.
Expanding the present,
No, that's one of the options still on the
that is
table.
still
Yeah.
on the table, right?
That's an option still on the table.
Yep.
They had like 2 or 3 options they were gonna present. I
Yep.
think.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm a broken record. I really hope this committee's looking at including whatever requirements for a gun range we have, because that shouldn't be a separate project.
Shouldn't be or should it?
Shouldn't be.
Right, I agree with
It
that.
should be
Yeah.
part of it.
No, absolutely.
And
point.
what are you gonna do with the old building should be a consideration from their perspective.
Exactly. People hate to see an empty
Top,
building.
almost most important.
You know, we are really tight here. Our vaults are packed, particularly our town clerk. We can never get rid of a record by law. We digitize them so that people can look at them online. We never get rid of that book.
Right.
We have to keep that book. So
That's what Iron Mountain's for.
we have to think about that too. You know, if
Every
we,
company has that, you just go store it in Iron Mountain, every half building.
and I won't even tell you what our storage is like downstairs. Okay. Just quick blight update. We ran into a situation, and a member of this committee talked to me about it. We had an owner, a property owner, buy a property for cash. They bought the property had blight fines on it. Now, usually if you buy a house, your mortgage company will require any liens or fines to be paid off. Glenn called me about it and said, geez, we got this property here, and here's what I took from that conversation. If this person sells it to another person for cash, those blight fines will sit there. We would have to take them to court, foreclose on them to get the blight fines paid. Right? So the idea was, okay, new owner, blight fines, we'll give you 6 months to clean up the blight. We'll give you 6 months to pay the blight fines. We will give you a 10% discount on the blight fines. And you must agree to clear the blight fines before the property is sold again. We don't want them sitting out there. That's a win for everybody, because then we don't have to take somebody to court, which costs us between $5,000 and $15,000 and takes years. So the blight panel last week put that in place. Now, how often that will happen? I think incredibly rarely. But we want to work with homeowners, especially people, in this case, this person is cleaning the property up the day after they bought the property.
Yeah, they're doing
They
the-
started clearing it.
Yeah. and-
That's what we want.
The
Which
whole
wasn't
reason for the
happening
blight
before.
fine was to get the property cleaned.
Right.
So if they start the incentive to get it cleaned up fast.
We're not that-
And the guy's doing a great
it's-
job.
And we're not, it's not costing us money,
No,
the blight fine, except for the legal fees, which are more than covered in the
Yeah,
blight
in the
fine
blight
itself.
And it would have sat there, now at least it's actually something's happening. which
Something's
is
happening with a
wonderful.
little incentive.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So that
Great.
person has the incentive to do
Yeah.
a
It's-
little bit of work.
it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And so the blight panel, I talked to the town attorney, we didn't have to create not an ordinance or a bylaw or a rule. He said the blight panel can, with explanation, make a decision like that. And we would not do it for everybody. It's gotta be for that specific circumstance. Because we don't want these blight fines to sit out there.
Yes.
right?
No, and you want the property to get cleaned up.
We want the property cleaned
Both-
up.
both of those.
And if a new owner is willing to work with us, like this one is, the guy's already done 80% of the work that needs to be cleaned for a while. He's owned it, what, 2.5 months? He's done.
It's the house next to mine.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like he's cleaning up, he's spending till 8 o'clock at night there every night cleaning up.
And
there is,
he
you don't
spent
even wanna know
money
what
to-
was in there.
Yeah.
Because he's been pulling out car after car after car after tractor
Oh
after
my
truck.
God.
He's probably pulled 20 vehicles out of there already.
When Joe Grimes bought this property that we bought from him, he took out 20-yard dumpsters.
The house on the corner.
He spent
was worse.
$12,000 in
Says
dumpsters.
the Patak brothers.
Yeah, to protect.
I know the Pataks, yes.
20
right.
Station Road has been completely taken down, it's grass now. The bids came in to remediate the property. They all came in below the grant amount, so we're in good shape, they will start in the fall. And I just have one other thing, at the end of your meeting, I'd like you to consider to go into executive session to discuss a legal matter. If you would.
All right, any questions for Steve? On to Marcia, please.
Okay, no PowerPoint tonight, but you have some reports, the reports are just so that there would be something, because we're closing the books, we're converting them to accrual basis, we're tying everything out, closing 1 year, starting another year, we're drowning just a little bit. But what we talked about last month was trying to figure out where we stand. And so this is all very preliminary, that, if we talk about it again next month, I would expect we'd have some significant changes on the expenditures, because right now, the departments have encumbrances out there, and we have to assume they're gonna pay them all, and that doesn't generally happen.
You gave to July 31st, right, though?
July 31st, we asked them to have all their invoices in, so we can have them all paid the first week of August and close everything up. But if we look at this, here is what we would, if we were right on the budget. We started the fund balance at 15.8 million, and was 90%, 19% of our budget. For the beginning of the year.
That's the percentage we are right now.
Yes, and that includes the total fund balance. Because there's so many different gyrations that we do with fund balance, available fund balance, reserve fund balance.
Target fund balance.
Yeah, so that's where we are right now. Here's what would happen if the revenues came in right on target, the expenses right on target, and of course we had a balanced budget, so we would have ended the year just as we started. But then what has changed? What has changed? We moved some money out of our contingency. Oops, I should have that down here. We moved some money out of our contingency and we put it in the Board of Ed, but that didn't increase the bottom line. Something's going on with my.
It was a transfer, not an appropriation.
Correct. My number lock is off. Oh my goodness, that was.
All right, take your time.
It's not a formula. Okay, so we moved some money that.
Which we knew.
Which we knew, we already did that. That, again, won't affect the bottom line. That, let's talk about revenues first. Taxes, we can't estimate the taxes until June 30th until August 31st, because essentially it's a cash basis. The way the accounting works is a cash basis of what we collect from September 1st to August 31st. That, so we have 2 months we've got to add back taxes on and then subtract 2 months of beginning taxes off. And we always assume that they'll be about the same. In trying to get this number today, I realized that some of the advanced collections have been misposted, that our software is supposed to change it to post them to a liability, and it didn't, and so we need to do some balancing there, but best guess is that we won't be under budget there. The license and permits, best guess is we'll be $100,000 over on that. That was some large fines that we collected that we weren't anticipating, that we've been looking at every month. Conveyance fees, it looks as though we'll be over in that, by 120. About 900,000 over in investment earnings. Vacancy, we had a vacancy in the rent, so we'll be about 24,000 under in that. We budgeted for a revenue contingency. We didn't know where it was coming from. Well, it's coming from up here. So we'll be under in that, and we expected that. It's part of our strategy. And other financing sources that when we were closing out the ARPA funds, we moved some money that projects closed out as underexpended. It went in, so it'll be about 150. So that leaves us with a little over $1 million in revenues. And we took, we took 400,000 of that. Let me put that here. We took 400,000 of that. So that is 646. This is about the same numbers we've been talking about all year long. The 400,000 is what we approved for the capital. We said we're gonna use it with excess revenues. The town, the expenditures, if we have, right now, when I look at the budget to actual, I pull it today, which is the latest and greatest information, that we have 210,000 that is not encumbered. The 310,000 that is not encumbered. It's a little different than those numbers because we had a check run in there. But and we don't expect, they're not allowed to do purchase orders now for last year. The departments are very good at using purchase orders. We're very grateful for their compliance. However, they could still do a purchase order adjustment, but those are not big amounts. So, I had this purchase order out for ammunition, and I thought it was 1,000, and the bill came in and it's 1,100. So there's small changes there, but nothing. There shouldn't be anything big. It'd be a surprise to all of us. We have, I think it's about 400,000 out in encumbrances. And again, they're able to spend all of that, but they don't. And so just a guess, an absolute guess of what they won't spend is about 100,000 of that, 25% or so. The Board of Ed, they may return at least $150,000. They still have to go through their processes, so hopefully that is the lowest amount that they would return. And they also have $500,000 of encumbrances out there. So both of those numbers could be substantially higher in what's being returned. These are Casey and I not wanting to, overestimate. If we were to move, so this is the number we can talk about. If we were to move, we have 19.04. If we were to move, let's say 402,808, just as a round number, over to.
How'd you pick that round number?
It just came right.
Wow.
If we were,
In there, come on, that's very round.
if we were to move something like that over to capital, then our ending fund balance in total would be 20.16%.
So let's run through these numbers though for me so I understand them before we get farther.
Sure,
You had $646,000 we have in revenue excess.
yes. But we had $1 million, but we've already,
We use 646 is what I'm saying is available.
yeah,
There's 310,000 also available.
correct,
There's 150 available from the Board of Ed more than likely,
yes.
and another 100 available from your side on
I'm
encumbrances.
guessing.
It's a guess.
Yeah, it's a guess,
So that's about 1.2 million, correct?
yes.
So out of that $1.2 million, you're putting how much towards the general fund?
Well,
800K.
yeah, because we would
That's-
take
that's okay.
400,000.
Roughly 400 for capital and 800 to the general fund.
That's where I was trying to make sure that 400 was what we're putting towards the capital.
Am I right? That's how I followed it.
I just want to
sure,
make
yeah,
sure
me too.
that I understood it. There's a lot of numbers that went through
Yeah.
there.
Right.
That it's 1.6 million.
Yeah.
So it would be 1.2 million.
No, how did you get the 1.6? I got the 1.2.
Right.
All those numbers you threw at me is 1.2.
Oh, you know why?
It's
I
okay.
went the wrong way here. 408,
Wrong side.
402,808.
Let's put 400. Let's just, we're trying to be round.
All right, so there we're putting 800,000, sorry.
Okay.
So it's 1905 compared to 1904. There you go. You got it.
So
sorry,
it'd be 1905, and what were we at the end of last year?
1904.
0.01.
But it's gonna be higher than that, because,
So what if we put another 100,000 in, make that 302?
502.
No, 302. Right? Or
An
502?
increase of
Transfer to
1,000,
capital go down
0.01%
by
seems a little
100,000.
late.
So I
So,
could do a number, but I just want to see.
if you wanted.
What's 100,000, make that 300 instead of 402. We just want to see what the effect is on the fund balances. So it's a lot, it's about 1.5%. 100,000.
1.5.
Okay.
So that would leave us, if we did that, Marcia, that would leave us with that $300,000 for what we discussed tonight for projects, correct?
Correct.
Plus, if we got a little extra, that would be on our side.
And we're not gonna close the books till the end of August, so we
Right.
could discuss this again, or
Yeah,
we
We
could
have closer.
make a final number next month as well.
Okay.
Right, but this is probably pretty close. I mean, what are we talking about, 100,000 differential maybe?
Max.
50,000?
We could have a lot more.
Well, a lot
Give
more
us
would be a
number.
bonus.
You give us a range. So the 1.2 sounds like that's reasonably safe.
I
Right?
agree.
The 646, 310, 100, 150, that's 1, 2. Oh, and the Board of Ed.
I had
Yeah,
646,
150,
150 Board of Ed, 100 town on the encumbrances,
Yeah,
and
that's
310 on the town.
And 150 for the
560
better.
plus
That's a
646.
comfortable number,
So that.
right? Are you, I'm not asking, I'm not trying to hold it to it.
That's a minimum number.
Yeah.
That's comfortable.
Yes.
That's a very comfortable, we should not have a problem. It should be within that
Correct.
And then-
range.
And what's the range?
And if we're not, it's okay.
As a minimum, because the Board of Ed hasn't gone through
No.
Correct.
the exercise.
Correct.
So I just said, is there a number that you think is the floor?
And what's the ceiling? Is it $500,000 or is it 200,000 or
I don't know.
what could it be?
They have $500,000 out in encumbrances. That,
I mean for the whole
Generally,
shebang,
comes back.
not just their piece.
oh, so between the
You
two of
said it
us,
could
we
be a
have,
lot more, a lot.
yeah, between the two of us, we have almost $1 million out in encumbrances. I know that mine pretty much get substantially used. I don't know their history on,
Okay, so this is a safe number. So anything beyond that, we could put towards the general fund,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
I mean, anything beyond that, so,
we could put it towards the general fund, or we could
Change your cap.
do it next month and
so part of the exercise leading up to that, thank you, that was awesome actually, was Brian sent out an email, we'll let you finish. So we'll let you finish, then we'll go to Brian's stuff. How's that?
I was done. That
Oh,
was
sorry
just
about that. Thank
gearing
you.
up to.
Can I ask you a
Sorry.
question before you're done on your topic? Since I always read all your files. Why did prior year taxes go down, a couple $100,000?
It was in back taxes, it went down 224,927 because.
Roughly.
Round numbers.
Because.
Roughly.
Every month, I knew you would notice that. I knew it was only gonna
She
be-
was ready for you.
And I
She
knew
was
it was
ready.
only gonna
We're working
be you.
well together.
I saw him coming.
I was gonna let everybody else ask their questions first.
She's like, got it on it, he's coming.
So every month, you'll notice that number's been in red. And
Yes.
been in red means, Marcia, you have to do a journal entry here. And the reason, and so every month I have been, so red means that I have manually manipulated that number for the journal entry that I haven't posted. What happened was, we have quality data, and quality data codes, just like I was saying that it wasn't coded to prepaid or unearned, they code the revenue. And last year, when I was balancing, probably in September or so, I saw that the revenues that the tax collector had didn't match ours in Munis. And so we spent some time investigating, and what had happened was the revenues for back taxes, they had coded to go to the water fund in the other account. And so it took them a while to figure out what it is and to get the number, and so probably February or March, I got the number, and I just have to do a journal entry to get them out of the water fund and put them in there, so I've been manually adding the 224.
So is it gonna come back?
Oh, it is, I just forgot
So,
to add it.
Got it,
so
got it.
I think what we're saying, we have water line we put up Federal Road that we didn't charge people for 12 years for.
Right.
Then 8 years ago, we started to charge them. That revenue went against that expense, and it shouldn't have.
But so the point of that then is the tax number that you showed on here
But this
has a
is,
potential for 200,000 upside.
no, I have already added that in.
Because that's a hand thing in there now. Okay, I'm good.
Got it, good.
All right, so go to Brian's.
So this is a little different than what I sent. Can you make that so it's like readable?
Oh, it is
The title, all the rows are still the same, but after, we had a capital committee meeting here, it was a joke, but I'm in this room every day. And we did make a few changes in here, so I'll tell you what is in here, we can have a discussion. The first column is kind of all the things that were requested that we said no to.
Right.
The next one is if I was gonna pick things that were kind of town infrastructure stuff, what would I pick?
Not you, but your committee.
Yeah, the committee,
Yeah.
I picked them and then the
Yeah.
committee, so that's why it's changed, because the committee actually
Okay, I
does some
just-
changes.
right,
Yeah, I
yeah.
say aye, I like to take credit for other people's work. And then-
Brian made a gentle suggestion.
Well, it was good, there were some good changes, great discussion. And then the stuff, I called it quality of life, but this is kind of the heat view of things, we should do some stuff that the town people see as a benefit, right? So there's two things in there, I think there's just one. So, I'll just kind of tick through this. The extraction equipment was something, oh, by the way, this is stuff that I believe will have high priority to be in next year's budget
Next
as
capital.
well.
That's
So
awesome.
this will, next year we have
And just so to clarify,
Yeah.
that's a list of the requests. That doesn't mean, and all those objects are getting done either.
none of those,
No.
none
But
of
no,
those.
I'm just saying,
None of
even in the
these
future, they
Oh,
may
right.
get denied in the
Some-
future.
right.
Okay, I just wanna know, so what you did is you took the main list and you've prioritized.
Right,
Got
right.
it.
So we would have liked to do the extraction equipment for the fire department, right? You know, draws a life kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
that's
right? Just didn't have money for it. So that's, I think, a natural one that's a good, can save lives kind of a thing. The gas meters, actually, we kind of made a mistake because that was taken out because there was a reserve already on the books in the fire department's for it, so we don't need that one no matter what. So I had that on the list, it's off now. I won't go through everyone I didn't say. The senior center, at the last minute, we put in one of the three zones. If we can get it all done at once, that'd be great. So I thought that was a natural, that was probably the last one that fell off the list from an affordability perspective in the last time. So putting that one back.
And we
makes
talked
sense.
about that during the budget, how we can manage that.
Right, so we're gonna do 40K
40,000 and now we're
kind
doing
of
the
for 3
remaining
years. Let's just do it all.
50,000.
So we all understand that, right? We all went through that.
And maybe
yes.
there's a way to do it a little cheaper if you do all three at once.
I'm
Yeah,
on
yes,
board,
agreed.
yes.
The police roof we should talk about real quick. That was one that the roof is end of life, it's not leaking yet, but it's gonna go. I wanted to ask Steve if he knows. My understanding is that everything that the police committee is looking at, none of the solutions would say you'd rip off the roof of the existing building and build up.
No.
So no matter what, unless that building gets
It needs roof.
raised, we're gonna need a new roof. It's got maybe a year left on it. It'd be good to get that done if we could.
That's a good point.
Okay?
But what happens to the building if you build a new police station? Should that
Right,
factor in?
So,
Should
if
that
I
factor
can
in?
just
Yeah.
clarify, if one of their designs is build off of their existing building, probably this side of the roof would get affected, but not the rest of it. So I don't think that's a huge,
So that one, there's a
Yeah.
little bit of debate on that. The roof will start leaking soon. It is end of life, so,
Yeah. And at the most, we know that however long it takes to come to an agreement on what kind of new police station we're building
Right.
or a renovation, plus getting it done, the roof will probably,
But if it's
We'll
going
have
to be
problems.
a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be.
even
3 or 4
if we
years.
Yeah,
went
for-
went to
No.
referendum next year for a police station,
it's still,
it'd be 2 years
Right.
longer before we actually
so they're
if-
in.
borrow the
this
money and
building.
put
If
stake
the
in the
ultimate
ground.
solution is build
I
a
don't
new
think
police
it's gonna
station
last
and
that
knock that one down, then we might not wanna do that. That's the
Yeah.
only
Correct.
scenario where maybe you don't wanna invest in
Got
that.
it, okay.
Right, right.
But
But
I
that
haven't-
is
I
a
haven't got
scenario,
some-
that is a scenario, so
Yes.
I
We will
would
have a-
caution with that.
On that, we'll have a much better idea by next June from the police ad hoc where they want to go. I would say do the roof next summer.
And maybe when you took 400 to 300, you'll see that's 100 that you took The town garage roof,
Never stops.
yeah. That building, the town garage does need to be,
Yeah.
fixed. You know, that one just, it was gonna be on for next year. I was okay with next year, but if we have money getting done this year, it would be really good because we got a
Yeah.
lot of need next year for that, those kind of things. And then, if you scroll down, so that's, kind of building type stuff. If you scroll down, this is Parks and Rec, right? So I'll come back to the docks.
Yeah.
But the boat ramp gate has been
Yeah.
vandalized multiple times, so they're gonna put a camera up over it, but we do kind of need the new gate solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be good. We've got a new plow for these guys, and they need we got the truck. Now they need the plow. This is the actual plow,
Got it.
the blade. So that we'll definitely do next year if we don't do it. So if we can sneak that in this year, that would be good. So that's it. You roll down, that's $400,000. Without the police station, it could be a little over 300. So that's a good
Okay.
set. Now on what could the town see? There's not a lot of options. I picked two. The first is the docks. Now, maybe we have more information, but there's the boat docks. The Parks and Rec has a services fund, and they're going to do the boat docks themselves. I don't know whether or not they're gonna do the swim docks, which is something
They
different.
don't
Did you
have
figure
that
that
kind of
out?
money.
Okay, so, and I don't know, the bid we got, I think, was just for the boat docks, Steve, is that correct?
Yes.
When we originally did this a year or two, maybe 2 years ago, there wasn't a ton of support for the swim docks because the swim docks were really not being used by too many people. It was for like a swim team, and so spending a lot of money on the swim team wasn't, it seemed like a lot of money for not as many people benefiting. So, I'm not huge on that one, but doing the swim docks would be an option and I don't know the price, because that was an old number and I
Got
don't
it.
even know the number.
You had 184 though in there.
That was for the boat docks, which they're gonna.
Oh, okay,
And
all right,
swim
my bad.
docks.
They got a bid on that, I
Okay.
stuck it in.
All right.
But
perfect.
the Cadigan Park
Right.
walking trail.
And that was the only other one I saw,
That
which
is
like
nice.
someone could see that, it helps the town, because everything else you look at the list,
Yeah.
lighting, but, if you actually did the walking trails, which is a nice to have, it's not critical, but that's a nice one
Nice
to
to
do.
have.
And
But
at
that's a
some
visual-
point, it's in the 10-year
Give 'em
plan,
moms.
it's not urgent, but it would be a nice thing for the town to have. So those are the two I thought would be visible
then-
to the town.
Go down to the bottom number. Just so I know it's 402.
That's for the
Everything.
infrastructure kind of
Yeah.
things.
Which,
Oh,
with the
and then-
100,000 gone, it's already right there.
And then you have 243 in there now.
That's
So
Yeah.
you have
Options.
$650,000.
Those are options, but this is kind of the pick from that list.
Yeah.
And I think we all just said, why don't we hold off on the police station roof for now?
And we also, I think, kind of took off the swim docks. We were kind of just, we don't
Yeah.
have an accurate quote, we don't have anything new.
Right, right.
If someone thought it was important, we could go work on that over
Right,
the
of
next
course,
month.
yeah.
And the Cadigan Park Trail it's a wonderful idea, but again, the money, and at this point, if we're,
Well, So,
it's another 135,000.
what I heard is maybe we do the 300,000, take off through to the 300,000, and then a month from now, if we get
Yes.
surprised with more money to spend.
If
then
we get
come
more
back and
money.
look at one of those.
Yeah. That's a
But you
great-
can, if
yeah.
there's another one on the list, slide back up, if there's anything else on the list that catches your eye and you wanna talk about it, be my guest, this was my initial.
We'll go down to, what's the latest on the outdoor scoreboard? Do we have anything on there?
They made the grant application, but I haven't heard anything.
Okay, but we made an application.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
So.
And I'd follow that, I wouldn't.
For people that are watching, we know that we had extra money, we want to handle the capital, we have a 10-year plan that we're looking at. Also, I think you made a statement, you correct me if I'm wrong, if I remember right, is the Board of Ed's 10-year capital plan has a lot on the front end and it's sort of light on the back end.
That's correct, so that this.
So what we can
Right.
tackle now with this money is going to help in the next
Right.
few years.
I looked at the Board of Ed's 10-year plan. A lot of what's gonna need to done in the next year or two is HVAC and stuff like that. And I said,
Sure.
if we did the money now, I think it'd be really hard to get the work done in time for school to start. So I didn't see anything on the list that would be really.
No,
easy
I'm
to
okay with
do.
that. I'm saying is that we're taking care of projects
That are
that would
not
have
school-based.
not school, that would have
Right.
taken that money.
Right.
So now we're front loading those so we can handle the schools much easier.
Right.
Because these would have had to been done in tandem.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the 10-year
Right.
plan
Right.
on the schools was 1.2 million the first year, 1.2 million the second year.
2.2.
right?
schools.
And like, when we go back, I'm sorry, Marcia, please go back up. Now, like something like the senior center AC, we would have pushed that 40,000 out next to the 2 years.
We're gonna go to the next year.
So now we're gonna consolidate it, get it done, maybe get it
a little
cheaper.
lesser, yeah.
So
Right.
I think this is the best use of funding because we know we got a little bit of a capital bubble coming again
We do,
for a couple years.
right.
You know,
And this falls into that proactive instead of reactive that we're preaching to, is we're gonna proactively handle some of these projects with excess cash. We are putting money in the general fund to get it up a little bit higher than what it was, so we're meeting that goal.
Yep.
And if Marcia has more money, yes, we can talk about, if we get more money, I'd still like to do the 50-50 rule with
Yeah,
that.
I
You know,
agree.
50 towards projects, 50 towards the general fund.
I agree.
Yes,
And then just the process is the capital committee will make a recommendation to me, to the board of selectmen, and then we bring it to you.
Yeah, we're fine with that.
Yeah, we have time though, we have time, because August 31st is when we'll have the final.
So
Well,
how
just
much, when do we have, Marcia,
September
realistically,
1st.
to make these decisions? When do we have?
Just before, we have to give the statements to the auditors when they come in mid-September, so I'd like to have them done by August 31st.
There'll be a capital committee meeting July 22nd, where we can formalize if that's the process.
Well, we're closing out all our encumbrances July 31st, right?
Correct.
That's it. If you haven't spent it in the town side, so we'll know to the penny
Oh, so
what
like
the
the
town is.
August meeting, then
To the
we
August.
could, we should plan for the August meeting to make a decision then.
Yeah.
And if I have to call a special board of selectmen meeting, I will.
No, I think we're in good shape. I think we
I
can
think we're in
do
pretty good
this.
shape.
I mean, Brian putting this together, you
You-
putting together the numbers.
You could make this recommendation contingent upon
Having them.
those funds being where we think they are, and if they're not, okay, we'll pull something back.
And so I say that August, but in the past, we do the financial statements in August, and then we do the, in case there's any changes, as we do other funds and stuff, because it's just a lot of shuffling. In September is when we, or even,
We should be able to make this decision in our August meeting.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
see, that it would be so close that we should be able to make a decision
yeah.
by then of what we're gonna do and not do.
We'll
Right,
be
I mean-
much closer on the numbers, and there will be a comfort level for all of us.
And what
that
would be
can
good
go ahead
before
and do
then
that.
is if for, because these were not accepted, we didn't have detailed quotes. So for the senior center AC replacement, and for the town garage roof,
Maybe
we
get
should
that,
get
Yes.
quotes on those.
maybe get quotes on that.
Can we do that, Marcia? Is that something that can be done? Is everybody comfortable with what we're suggesting? Naheed, are you comfortable with this?
Yes.
And your
100%.
committee's comfortable
Yes.
with this?
Yeah, we'll go
Okay.
back and, but yeah, the committee.
Okay.
And that gives you time, Brian, if
Right.
the quotes
For
come
their
back.
committee, we're meeting their needs just ahead of
Yeah.
schedule.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all we're doing, is they're
We
saying,
were gonna
we've
say that.
analyzed the needs, and we said, you know, through Brian and us, we said, we don't have that kind of money to meet all your needs.
Right.
So all we're doing now is taking the next stage of needs.
Right, so July, just,
Interesting.
so I'm a little ahead on the agenda, but for July 22nd is the next time the capital committee's meeting. We've still got to meet with one fire department.
Okay.
Then after that, we're going to put together our recommended 10-year plan, which is pretty much, we're just going to kind of
Right.
approve it.
Fine
if you
tune
will.
it.
And what we're doing different this year than we've probably done any other year is we are putting in, we're changing based on affordability when things get done. So not really changing what people are asking for the most part, unless we don't think it really should happen.
But the timing.
But the timing of it so that it is closer to affordable given what the financial condition
sense.
looks like. So that we can use that as a
And it's
basis for
staggered
all the other
over.
planning.
Oh, that makes sense.
So we will have that kind of hopefully done July 27th.
So on this, I didn't tell you this, you may watch the Board of Selectmen meeting, we did create an ordinance that we're going to have a public hearing to create the capital committee as a permanent committee. And the hearing is before our Board of Selectmen meeting in September. And we also reappointed all the existing members of the committee through October.
And one of the points was he put in the possibility of 2 Board of Finance members being on it. Which,
Yeah.
Planning is
Barb.
mine, I love planning, I love thinking of the future, so.
yeah, there was some discussion on that. I think both Bob Eldon and I agreed. The Board of Finance is the one making the final decision here. And the more input you have, I think the better results we get. And we're not trying to overweight the committee in any way, shape, or form.
no, I don't see it that way. I would just add you to ask that the chair can't be amended. Put it in the ordinance. The chair should not have the oversight of that.
The chair
Of the Board of Finance
Should be on it.
should not be on that committee.
If we're gonna do that, probably say the chair of the Board of Ed too. right?
I'm just saying the chairs seem to be over.
No, yeah, I think you would almost have a
This is more
conflict
of
of
a
interest.
biased
Yeah.
type of thing.
I agree.
Yeah, you know what, we're gonna have that hearing, and we can change that night. As long as the ordinance that we have, we're not making substantial changes, we
Right.
don't have to have a second hearing.
I'm just
I think
saying,
Glenn has a good.
I, as a chair, should not be on that committee. They should do their thing without a biased opinion or an over, like,
So
bearing.
Could you send that to me in an email, just a
Yes.
quick comment, so we
Yes.
have it for the hearing?
I just think that it's better.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that's a good
The
idea.
committee makes recommendations into this board anyways.
Correct.
But it should, yeah.
I
Might as
think
well-
that's a
we
good
gotta
idea.
formalize it. Absolutely, it
Yeah.
shouldn't happen, but might as well formalize it.
Correct,
Yeah.
that's my
In
opinion.
practice, we wouldn't do it, but.
You don't
someone
need
else
my
might.
finger on it at all. You need to do your thing.
So,
All right. Yeah, all right, we're in good shape, so we should have more information. So that does that. Capital Committee, you pretty much did your thing already. You have anything to
Yeah,
add?
so like I said, we convened yesterday, maybe we shouldn't, but we did. So we've got one more meeting, we're gonna close it all up, and then I think we'll be fundamentally done until we start the new cycle. What's interesting is we're doing the 10-year plan review, and we're viewing it as being really late, but the people that bring it in are like, you guys are early, and they're starting to bring in next year's 10-year plan already. So actually, it's helping get ahead of things, which
Right.
is very interesting, which
We
And
talked
you-
about
You're
it.
also going to meet, are you meeting with all the departments?
already
and-
have, let's say, just
That's
the
it,
fire
exactly.
department's the last
Oh,
one.
okay, that's great,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Because now we know what their needs are even before the budget season arrives.
Yeah, it's, this is the first, I don't know, Brianna, I think this is the first time we've actually gone through the 10-year plan in a lot of detail.
Yes.
So, this is a learning experience for everybody, it's not perfect, but now that we're gonna do this more often, it's gonna be a lot better, but yeah, it's.
It's the first time we're not sucking out of a fire hose.
And-
You have a chance to
and just take
review
what they
this,
put and just-
and you can think about it, you're not fighting the fire, you're not trying to get it to budget.
Right.
You got a chance, and again, it goes to that proactive versus reactive, it's a simple process.
And I continue to work, and I think the town departments are getting much better at this. Guys, I want you to think about this ahead of time. I don't want you coming to the boards in December with a quick, oh, I need this roof or something,
Right.
right? And they're getting much better at that too.
Which is a tribute to Marcia and you. Marcia does a lot of that work too, so
Yeah.
thank you. All right, old business, we had the internal service fund, which we have to look at, but we're gonna move on to other things tonight because we have executive. But we need also to do the fund balance policy, which we can obviously see, we didn't look at this in a long time because our fund balance was 12.93% in 2020, and we just said we're about 19%.
Correct, and I think what, and there's different percentages for different things, so
Right.
this is just in total. And I think we want to look at, we've got some that have been put aside for potential additional appropriations. And maybe we want to suck that into, and reduce that and move it to,
Unassigned.
It says here that the target fund balance was at least 18% should be. What's the target fund balance? That's just a target number, right?
that was the target number using the risk assessment form that we did at the time. And we could redo the risk assessment form.
Who does that? We do it, or does somebody do it?
I do that, there's GFOA has a template, and I filled it out, and then you guys made some changes to it, so we can do that.
Can we revisit that when you get a chance?
We'll make another cut and run through it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's just see what it should be, and let's, we gotta get this done before the election cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, because a lot of this wording is the same except for the target revenue
Yep.
and the actual, what the balance is as of the 2020 fit.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll take a stab at the risk assessment and then updating the numbers.
Perfect. It'd be good to redo that anyway, and just have it updated, so we know.
Under new business, we already moved the transfers in. other items to come for the board, I would like to make a motion that we enter into executive session for legal matters. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. We now will enter
Who are you gonna
into
join?
executive session. We will have John Lucas and Marcia Marion join us as well.
Are we going to make a motion at the end? Should I turn
No,
this off?
no, I don't
There's no
think- I
motion
don't
at the
think
end.
so.
We'll just adjourn.
All right,
We
I'll
can
keep
just adjourn
track of
after.
the time and I'll
Please.
text
We
you.
will tell you what time we adjourn.
That'd be great.
That way she